Today's topic is to fix FID issues, the part of 3 Core Web Vitals series. If I ask you a question, have you ever got a query from an angry customer regarding the FID score over 100 milliseconds? If yes, then it's time to learn how to optimize the FID score of the site. In this tutorial, we are going to introduce the top 4 tips which help in improving the FID score of a web page. So without any delay, let's get started. FID is one of the main core web vitals of the Google Page Experience algorithm. It measures the time when the server responded to the user's interaction with your web page. It could be either clicking the button or image. You might not find FID every time because it can only be tracked on the field data, whereas the tools like PageSpeed, Tmetrix gives the lab data report. The field data is basically a real user experience data that Google collects from the Chrome Real User Report, whereas the lab data is the one that is being generated via performance testing tools, that is PageSpeed or Tmetrix. So let's explore, why does first input delay (FID) go missing? First input delay is a metric that measures the responsiveness of a website by measuring the delay in processing an event like clicking a button, tapping on a menu, or entering data with a keyboard press, and the time it takes for the web page to respond. Scrolling and zooming in on text or images do not count as an interaction with the web page. Instead of FID, tools show us how good or bad the TBT, that is total blocking time score, is. First, let's have a quick look at visuals of good and bad main thread. The main thread is where a browser processes user events and paints. By default, the browser uses a single thread to run all the JavaScript in your page, as well as to perform layout, reflows, and garbage collection. This means that long-running JavaScript functions can block the thread, leading to an unresponsive page and a bad user experience. This is the visual of bad FID, which is being caused by the main thread, which took a huge time in responding to action of a visitor. The good FID means the browser should react to the user action swiftly. Main thread size should be smaller for this. Let's have a look at the top 4 tips to fix the FID problems. Tip number 1. Reduce JavaScript execution time. By deferring heavy JavaScript which blocks the rendering of other elements of a web page, the browser will have enough time to respond to user interactions quickly. This way the first input delay or FID score of the web page will improve in no time. So to defer the JavaScripts that affecting the FID score, first, you have to find or collect them via the PageSpeed Insights tool. Just look at the FID sections of the Google PageSpeed tool. After that, you can defer these problematic JavaScript by either adding a defer attribute manually or take the help of a site optimization plugin like Breeze or WP Rocket. You just need to add the JS URLs in the list of the defer JS option given by the plugin. Apart from deferring JavaScript, you can also minify them to speed up their execution. Minifying means reducing or eliminates the unwanted characters from the code so that JavaScript will execute quickly. For minifying, you don't have to do anything manually. Breeze or WP Rocket is also able to do this task for you. Just enable the minification of JS via plugin settings. Tip number 2. Enable caching. I would recommend caching content on the server as much as possible. You just need to validate these 2 areas. 1 is varnish caching your site. 2 is HTML check is enabled in your Breeze settings. You can simply follow the links given in the description to learn how to validate the above methods. The agenda behind enabling caching is to try not to rely on client-side JavaScript frameworks to render the same content for everyone again and again. Tip number 3. Remove unused JavaScript. When you install themes and plugins on your WordPress site, they load scripts on your pages to do their job. While some scripts are useful, others may not be essential to the functionality of your site. To find out the list of JS files you don't need, check the PageSpeed Insights report. It gives you a breakdown of unused JS files to remove. If you do not want to remove the files, you can load only them when necessary. You can use the Assets Cleanup plugin, or you may also add those in the Delay JS option under Breeze settings. Tip number 4. Optimizing your CSS code. Optimizing CSS code is doable by minifying it, If it is not hurting the site's layout, minification will help in reducing the size of the CSS so it will load quickly. Plus, you can use the remove unused CSS code technique as well. To learn how to remove unused CSS code, please go to the link in the description.
Thank you for watching the video. For more information, stay tuned.